The wait is finally over. It took a little longer than usual, but the first look at Granola the Survivor arc has arrived. Let's waste no time and dive straight in for a panel by panel breakdown. The first pages have black borders, a trademark of many dream sequences in manga. We see an unnamed devastated planet, Frieza's army, and a full moon, which of course goes hand in hand with giant Saiyan apes. For those who may be unaware, Saiyans originally have tails, which cause them to transform at the sight of a full moon. A cool power, but none of the current Saiyans still have their tails, them under various circumstances being cut off. We then get a POV shot of someone approaching what looks to be a church. Architecture of the entire planet actually seems to be a nod to Old English and Elizabethan architecture. We could infer from that this civilization wasn't all that advanced and were dominated by not only the Frieza Force's immense power, but also superior technology. We also see a couple presumed dead soldiers wearing outfits that appear to be similar to that worn by Granola. This means perhaps Granola is in fact ex-military or currently still a part of a military, which would explain his proficient skills and organized tactics. The point of view continues into the building where a hole in the ceiling is eventually filled with the menacing face of a bloodthirsty Saiyan who has a crisscross scar, similar to the exact same scar as Goku's father Bardock. So this could be Bardock, but Yamcha has the same scar, so it's not exactly an open and shut case. It's more, it's just as possible that this is just a common Dragon Ball type scar that's, many different warriors throughout that the universe could possess. But it may very well be Bardock, so we'll keep an eye on that. Moving forward, we see Granola wake up from the dream in a panic and sweat. He's consoled by his ally Oatmeal over his radio headset, and we also see that Granola was indeed successful in retrieving OG-73. We also get a quick shot of back on the ship where 73 was being held, and although the occupants are defeated, they are still alive. Granola spared them, got what he needed, and got out, meaning unlike the Saiyans he was so fearful of in his dream, Granola is without bloodlust, leaning more towards the idea that he is a good guy and not necessarily a bad guy. At worst, probably an anti-hero. Granola goes back and forth with Oatmeal some more, where Granola reveals that he's had this same dream, in fact, several times before. And it seems to be more so of a traumatic experience from days past versus just a random occurrence. If this dream that we saw was indeed from the perspective of Granola, he was actually there, this would mean that, seeing as how the Saiyans were still working for Frieza, and the last confirmed year of that is Dragon Ball year 732, this will put Granola somewhere around the age of 55 or 56 current day. Assuming back then he was a small child and, he's aged fairly well over the years. Granola continues to tell Oatmeal that he in fact still hates Frieza's army after all these years, but they both dismiss Frieza, believing him to be long dead. So they clearly are unaware of Frieza's revival. This means that neither Frieza nor the rest of his empire will be the main villains of this arc, as I previously predicted. That Granola and Oatmeal require 7-3 for other reasons, perhaps to defeat an entirely new foe that makes Granola wish for the days he just had to worry about Frieza. And an even more interesting reveal at the end of the scene is that Granola holds no true hatred for Frieza himself, but more so for the quote, barbaric monkeys of Frieza's army, aka the Saiyans. So big Baby vibes here. Not surprising given that Baby was just released as DLC for Fighter Z. Again, more of a focus group, seeing how people react to it. And, going off of that data, they decided to, the creative direction of the story. All the same, it seems the Dragon team will be pulling inspiration from another past Dragon Ball story. Question remains though, of course, how much, and only time will tell. We then switch over to Beerus' planet, where Goku is struggling to get a hold of the Oracle Fish so Whis can give it a vitamin shot to help it fall asleep. Whis then reveals that the Oracle Fish's not being able to sleep is usually a sign of a bad omen. Now this is a very telling detail. As far as we know, this has never happened before. The Oracle Fish wasn't upset before Moro showed up, nor before the entanglement with Zamasu, which leads us to assume that this next threat will be even greater somehow, surely worthy of Goku's new UI powers. Whis, however, plays down the Oracle Fish's behavior, but as we've pointed out before, Whis is not to be trusted. Why say it's a bad omen just to say it doesn't matter? Clearly, the mastermind is still at work. After a little banter between friends, Goku transfers into Ultra Instinct to resume his training with Whis, making Vegeta noticeably agitated. Vegeta originally wanted to find his own path to power and felt he didn't need to learn Ultra Instinct to surpass Goku. Maybe perhaps that notion has faded after the events of the Moro Saga, and Vegeta will begin to take Ultra Instinct more into consideration, maybe even conquering the form in this arc. Another interesting detail here is how Beerus reacts to Ultra Instinct transformation. He seems very unbothered and unimpressed. If you could argue, completely bored with the whole the whole thing that's happening. We could infer from this that Goku's power still is very much not on the level of Beerus. He doesn't seem to worried, he doesn't seem eager for the challenge. Beerus is completely unbothered by Goku's progress, and he still is not registering as something to be respected. All the same, Goku begins sparring with Whis, and the draft pages come to an end. But you can see in the corner that this is only page 12, so there's more than half of the chapter still to come. More spoilers are on the way, and of course the full-length chapter will be here on January the 20th. This video was more so just an overview, but there will be plenty of videos this week analyzing this content even further. So stay tuned for each new drop, because chapter 68 is on the way and there is more than enough excitement for this new arc of Dragon Ball to be had.